How do you write a nonfiction book that has an impact? If you are here, it's probably because you want to write a book. Maybe you have a story, a process, or a life lesson that you want to share with the world. Maybe you're an entrepreneur with a formula for success, or maybe you have such a powerful story that you want to write in your memoir. Whatever your motivation is, in today's video, we are going to focus on how to write a nonfiction book that truly resonates with your readers. Hi, I'm Charlotte. I'm a book coach and developmental editor, helping women to unapologetically write their stories and become a published author. So the first step to writing a really impactful nonfiction book is to start with the end in mind. So that means asking yourself questions such as, what do you want the readers to feel as a result of having read your book? Another way to think about this is, what do you want readers to take away from your book? So whether it's like a practical strategy or an inspirational message, or just a deeper understanding of their own experiences through yours, I want you to spend some time to really think about what is the key takeaway for your readers. This is going to then serve as an anchor for you as you are writing your book. So as you're walking people through your process or your story and you're sharing different antidotes, I want you to be able to ask yourself, does this help serve that feeling I want my reader to experience at the end of the book? So again, really defining this is going to help shape your narrative and keep you focused on delivering a message that is consistent around that feeling throughout the entire book. So again, if you want someone to feel empowered, you want to make sure that the stories you're telling and the tips you're giving them are serving that empowerment feeling. So once you've started by thinking about the end in mind, now it's really thinking about the journey you're going to take these readers on and how you're going to get them there. So to bring your book idea to life, one of the tools I love to start with is doing mind mapping. It's a very powerful tool for helping you to organize all of your ideas, organize all your stories and antidotes, and putting them into the right place in your book so that they help to illustrate and emphasize the different points that you're trying to make. So how do you do this? What can be really helpful is to take out a piece of paper, or if you have a whiteboard, is to write in the center what you just wrote about what your key takeaway or the moral of your story is. So again, this is what you want the reader to feel and experience as a result of having read your book. So put that into the middle of your piece of paper. You can circle it if you want to. You can create a cool design with it, get very creative. But put that into the center of what we're going to create as your mind map. So from the center, what we're going to do is actually build different branches that can come out around the different steps or methods or ideas that you are trying to present to the reader. So for example, you might be an entrepreneur who is writing a book for other entrepreneurs who are earlier in the process. Maybe they're just starting their business, and you have a success formula that's going to help them build their business. So each chapter within your book could cover a different aspect of your journey. So it could start with your challenges, with your strategies, and the lessons you've learned along the way. So this method really allows you to visualize the structure of your book so that it ensures that every chapter is building upon the one before it in service of your overall message of your book. This can also help you identify any gaps or areas where it might need to be developed a little bit more, so that there's a little bit more meat into your process and helping people really reach that transformation they're looking for at the end of your book. So now let's talk about storytelling. So as you're mind mapping this out, you're probably going to start to see a little bit of a structure of your book coming together. But the key here is that we can't just write out 10 steps for having a successful business and just think people are going to read 10 steps and then go do them all. What really is the glue that brings all those steps together that's going to leave that reader feeling inspired and like ready to take action at the end of your book is the storytelling aspect. So this is true if you're writing, nonfiction or a how-to book. It's also same as if you were writing a memoir. So think about the journey you're taking people on. Where are they starting and then where are they ending? And this might reflect in your journey as well. So where did your journey start and where did you end up, at least for this window of time that you're sharing with people? So to use the entrepreneur how-to book on how to start a business, again, you might start with, I got laid off from my job. I was sick of working in corporate and I started my business. But when I started, I made these mistakes and I want to make them easier for you so that you can get going and flourish in your business faster than I did. And so then you can talk about what it was like to make those mistakes. What was the most challenging? How did you overcome them? And that's how you overcame those are ultimately going to be the steps you're presenting in your formula. And then, of course, at the end, you're going to talk about the thriving business you have, because that is what ultimately you are wanting to provide and showcase for the readers so that they can also feel inspired to do the same. For those writing a memoir, you really want to make sure that your story is realistic and authentic. So you're going to want to share experiences that allows the reader to really connect into who you are on a personal level and really feel like they are talking to a friend and listening to their life story. So remember, the goal is to really engage your readers. You want to take them on a journey and you want them to see themselves within the story and also feel motivated, and something is going to either ask them to reflect or to change or to take a new step they hadn't thought about. Okay, so maybe let's put this on the whiteboard so you have a little bit of a visual of what this looks like. So in the middle, you're going to have the moral of your story, or that takeaway you're really wanting people to understand as a result of reading your book. And then from there, you're going to have all of these branches that are going to be coming out that are going to help reinforce and serve that moral of the story. So let's use the entrepreneur example some more. And here, you're probably going to talk a little bit about the different steps that you took within your business. You might talk about some of the mistakes you made in your business. That's not the best handwriting, but you know what I mean. You're also going to have different stories that you're going to want to tell about the mistakes that you've made and how you overcame them, which is the steps. So I'm going to put stories down here. And then you're probably also going to have some results, right? So results of how did you overcome these mistakes with these steps. So results. And then what might also be helpful, depending on if this supports that moral, is you might have some testimonials or something that's over here that's kind of client results. So you can see here how this can start to categorize all the different components that are going to go into your book that are going to pull the reader in. And what's cool about the mind map is then you can continue to look at this. So what are the results that someone's going to have? What are the stories that you're going to be able to tell that are going to help illustrate some of your mistakes, some of the steps you took? What are the steps that you did take? And this, again, is going to end up being your method or your program or your step-by-step process that is getting your reader to the result. So I invite you to play around with this and just see what you can start to map out as you start to get all the ideas out of your head and onto paper. So remember, the goal of your book is to really engage your readers both emotionally and intellectually. You want them to see themselves in your story and feel motivated to take an action or just reflect on their own experiences. And so once you start mind mapping this, that's when it's time to write, which is really exciting. This is about sitting down, getting your butt in the seat, putting words on the page, and making progress little by little. And I will say, one word of caution is that I know it can be so tempting to edit your work as you go, but I would invite you to save as much as your revision process for the end. You can definitely check in with yourself and continue to ask yourself, is what I'm writing in favor of the moral of the story? If it's not, maybe take a different route, or maybe you just need to write it out knowing that it could get cut later. But what I want you to really focus on is writing forward. So this is not about going back and editing what you did the day before. It's about continuing to get words on the page until you have that completed draft, where then you can sit down, polish, refine, start to ask questions like, is my message clear? Is my, are the stories I'm telling contributing to the overall moral of the story? A lot of the writing process does happen in the rewriting process and the editing process. And this is where you can continue to refine your message and ensure that your book is as powerful and has the impact that you really desire it to have. So there you have it. I hope that was a very effective approach for you to start to think about how to frame your nonfiction book and really leaving you feeling inspired to take some next actions. And if you take one thing away from this video, I invite you to start with the end in mind. When you start with the end in mind and you really have that moral of the story, you know the target of where you're going to take your readers, that's when you can work backwards and really create that journey of how you're going to get them to that end result. So if you found this video helpful, please like this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to connect with other like-minded writers. And be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss a thing. And if you're in the process of writing your nonfiction book or bringing your idea together after watching this video, please let us know in the comments. I'd love to hear what your book is about. And if you're looking for further support, I invite you to check out my Idea to Manuscript course. This is designed for both fiction and nonfiction writers to get their ideas out of their head onto paper and really move towards that completed manuscript. You can learn more in the link below. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video.